Well, the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel let me out of the studio today, so I'm out in the big wide world roaming around. And so being the ultimate sports person that I am, as you all know, because I'm dressed for athletics here, I decided to go someplace so I could learn something new. Yeah, so here I am at Starrk Moon Kayaks on Cold Cabin Road in Delta, Pennsylvania. See, that's what it says. I'm Ken Kiedrowski, and you're on location. Well, thanks for joining us here on location on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Of course, I'm Ken Kiedrowski. And on a lot of these shows, I know absolutely nothing about the topic at hand. Like when I was at a potato chip factory, me make potato chips, you gotta be kidding. Or me at a service station, me fix a car, you gotta be kidding. And so what do I know about kayaks besides the fact that I can identify one and enjoy people using them? Yeah, I know nothing about that, but I have somebody here who can talk all day and all night about it. Brad Nelson. Brad, thank you so much for letting me visit you here.
Good to see you again.
At Starrk Moon Kayaks and Gear on Cold Cabin Road in Delta, PA. And so let's start at the beginning. How long has this place been here?
Nearly 34 years.
34 years, okay.
Yeah, I've been here a little longer.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we came here in 81.
Yeah.
My family came to the area in the 70s, bought a farm. My dad thought he wanted to be a dairy farmer.
Yeah, that didn't work?
Whoops, yeah. Yeah.
What, that was utterly ridiculous then?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't resist.
Yeah, but we came up to help my mom and dad, and when the farm sort of went down, I didn't want to go back.
Yeah.
So we came over here, and I'd always fooled around with canoes. So I was a canoe guy.
Yeah.
And I watched everybody going in and out of this road. This is the shuttle road for Muddy Creek, and they also paddled the river. So, and I knew everyone. So eventually it sort of morphed into being a canoe shop first.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about kayaks. But after getting around them a little bit more, I thought that they were the future. They're more fun, they're more stable, they have back support. So I went right off in that direction.
Kayaks are really more stable than a canoe?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I can talk about that.
Oh, I know you can, because you're the expert. I'm not.
Well, this is what I think. A canoe isn't that easy to paddle correctly. And the American male thinks that it's a God-given right that they can paddle a canoe. And they can't. They just can't.
God-given right.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've just seen it, train wrecks, I mean, but it is easy, and I don't quite understand it because I've been able to steer anything.
Yeah.
A canoe or kayak, the steering part of it, I don't get it. It's just, you do it just like steering a car.
Yeah.
It's not complicated. You just have to do it correctly. So, but anyway, the kayak thing, I took off with it and sold more in a year than most shops sold in 10 years. And then the next year, there were more boats, more numbers. But I try to create kayakers, and that's what the shop does. That's what I'm all about. Not just selling you a boat. I want to see you buy a kayak and use it, become a paddler. You can do it for years.
I studied your website a little bit, and one of the things it says on there that one of your specialties is correcting other people's mistakes when they buy a kayak at a big box store.
It's the truth, yeah. I mean, box stores are clothing stores. You don't go to buy anything technical. You might not, and people will tell me you might buy your first mountain bike there, then you find out what you bought and you never go back for your second. So that's the way the box store boats are. And here, I try to cross-examine you when you walk in here and figure out who you are and ask a bunch of questions. Try to figure out exactly what boat will make you a kayaker. And quite often you could talk for 15 minutes and they'll add one thing, one item. I go, well, wait a minute. Forget what I've been telling you. We got to go and look at these boats. It's like fishing kayaks.
Fishing kayaks?
Oh yeah, oh, it's huge.
Just for fishing?
Oh yeah, they're here. Oodles of them.
Oh,
well, there's more fishermen
Yeah.
that use a kayak than there are kayakers. Fishing is huge.
Off of a kayak.
Yeah, so you can talk about a kayak and you want to do 3 things with it, and then when you say or mention that you like to fish out of it, well, that's a whole different boat. That supersedes the other designs of a kayak you might consider.
Yeah.
So it's a different boat. Yep. Yep. It's got to be stable because you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Super stable.
Yeah.
And you might drift up onto a rock or a stump or something and flip that thing over and lose all your gear. So the true fishing kayaks are so stable that that might not ever happen. Very difficult to flip them over. Plus now the big trend, and there's been 2. One is to stand up and fish so you can cast.
Yeah.
The seats elevate up and down, and you can stand up from that high position of that seat and cast, and sometimes even see the fish on the surface. And now this year and last year, this year in particular, pedal drive kayaks.
Pedal drive.
And they're not, yeah. And I see people running in here with money in their hand to pedal drives. Yeah, because you can have hands off. You're pedaling with your feet.
Oh, with your feet.
And you can move that boat all around as you're fishing.
When you said standing up and casting that, you don't mean standing up in
On
a
the kayak, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, yeah. They have platforms. They're wide, they're sit-on tops. You never fish out of a deck boat, a cockpitted kayak. And manufacturers in the box stores, they'll have it right on there, it'll say angler. Well, it's a boat they've manufactured for 15 years, and kayak fishing's gotten to be popular, and they'll put angler on the side of that boat. And you buy it, and you go out there 6 times, 8 times, you flip the thing over, lose $500 worth of gear. So they're wrong. So you got to get a wider, beamier sit on top to fish out of. But to go anywhere on them, you'd be hating life. You're not going to put one in the water and paddle 20 miles.
Yeah.
Human-powered sport. That's the other thing people don't realize about kayaking. There's no motor. It's you in that boat, which is the most important thing you ever buy, the hull design and the paddle. And you spend up on that paddle. That's what moves the boat. If you buy an aluminum shafted piece of an expensive paddle and it's heavy, well, you're the one that suffers. And if you buy up and buy a carbon Kevlar paddle or something, or carbon, yeah, they cost some money, but guess what? It's a joy. It's part of the, niceties of paddling is to have a nice paddle.
How many different varieties of kayaks are there? Like obviously you've got ones designed just for fishing,
Yeah.
which I never knew.
Yep.
But then what are the other? Are there other variations on the thing?
Oh yeah, many.
Many.
Yeah, well, there's the rec boats, recreational boats. And I guess they have a purpose. And I mean, and I consider them to be the person who wants to buy one, but possibly not learn the kayak. You don't learn anything in what's called a rec boat. You can own that boat for 10 years. And what you know about nothing is 0. And then there's light touring boats where you might actually go 6 or 8 miles and paddle that boat. They're more efficient. And they move through the water easier. Now, they're not as stable as a rec boat. Rec boats generally have training wheels. All that width that slows that boat down, human-powered sport, you got to pull that thing through the water, isn't needed. They're training wheels. And then when you find out and realize what you bought, you can't take the training wheels off.
Yeah.
So you have the light touring boats, and they might be really 14, 15 feet long. There aren't many manufacturers who actually spend a lot of time designing the 12s. Many times they too have training wheels. And then you have flatwater kayaks, and that's what all these are. You have the sea kayaks. They're fun, easy to paddle, they're fast. And then people will say, well, I don't want to race. And they don't understand what fast means. It's easier to paddle. It takes less energy, less effort to paddle that boat. Those boats, 15 feet maybe, but the 16s and the 17s and 17-foot 10, wow, they're boats of a lifetime. And there's groups locally, and you might find those groups on Facebook. They might say they're clubs, but they might be meetup groups, and they're having fun. And they know where to go, and they're paddling 17-footers. If you show up with a 14, they might allow you to paddle with them that day, but you're going to be hating life trying to keep up with them. And you could be paddling alone or not have anyone to talk to because they're gone. But they will keep somebody in the rear, the sweet paddler, to watch out for everybody, to keep the group. You know, so that person in the rear is generally somebody who knows what they're doing, and they're in a 17-footer, and they got to like ride herd on that person, even with that 14-footer. So here, I saw a lot of those. I straighten things out for people, you know, and I take trade-ins, and I hear all these stories. And that, I think when a store or kayak shop doesn't take trade-ins, they don't know. They're just throwing the same boats out there all the time. They don't get to hear those stories that I hear. So you've got the touring boats. There's boats for the Olympics, kayaks. And they can be carbon Kevlar, awesome, or I mean usually. And they can be for slalom competition where you have gates. And you see that on whitewater.
Yeah.
And you have to maneuver those gates, and you can't touch them. They did the points for that. And then there's something called wild water racing kayaks, and canoes too. And that's a little different. But you'll see those in the Olympics coming up, I think, in 2024. What else is there? Whitewater kayaks.
Whitewater kayak.
Wow, look out. It's not unusual to own 3 to 5, 8 or 10. They all do different things. And there's whitewater kayaks that you begin with and generally succeed. And there's ones that you don't go there for your first kayak. And that's what chases a lot of people away from whitewater kayaking. But they're the boat that you might own second or third down the road. But it's a journey. Anybody can do it. I had a lady in a week or so ago from DC. She was a librarian, 72 years old, and here getting her second whitewater boat. She was so excited. And she said, people don't know how relaxing it is out there.
72 and getting a new one.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, I had a friend of mine, Bob Barrett.
God bless her.
He was 82, taking all the girls out on the Yellow
82?
Bridge. 82. Yeah, Mr. Bob Barrett. He was a professor, retired at Messiah College. So, yeah, they're out there. You know, it's very doable. It's like I was up.
You were telling me
Yep.
about a whitewater park
Yes.
that's within spitting distance of your location.
Yeah, here in Delta, it's right up off of Route 372 by the Norman Wood Bridge,
Yeah.
Block 12 Road.
Yeah.
It's been there for, I think, 5 years now. It's going to be there for 45 more years.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Yep. It's free.
Free.
Yep, absolutely free.
Strange
It's
word.
managed by the paddlers when they turn it on.
Yeah.
It's safe, but you have to get yourself a kayak and build some skills to go there. You're not just going to buy one on a Saturday morning and run over there an hour from now, and it's not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. But I swear, parents, they should take their kids there, because those kids, grandkids might be able to use this thing. It's there, it's free form of recreation for this entire area. But you might meet somebody there who's driven up from Atlanta or Colorado or Jersey, or they've come here and camp when they turn that thing on. And the local folks, they're unaware of it.
Seriously, it has that wide of a draw?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. When you walk up there, you can't believe that this is free. Yeah, it's for the paddlers.
And can you play license plate bingo in the parking lot there?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yep. Yep. It's a gift.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
would
gift
say.
to the kayakers.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just not for this area. You know, people are traveling to come here.
And what were you telling me earlier? You said, you know, other areas they develop baseball players, football players, but you were telling me about how many great kayakers have come out of York County.
Yeah, and when I started this shop in 30 plus years ago, I had some young friends, they were skateboarders. And I had to force these kayaks on these guys.
You have to force the boats on these guys?
Yeah, there was 4 or 5 of them. Now, one of these young guys had gotten into it before I opened the shop. So he had to lead on me a little bit by 6 or 8 months, and he lived 10 minutes from here, a natural kayaker, a whitewater guy. And is still spectacular to this day and lives out in Washington State. But these other guys, many of them still work in this industry. It's their life. And they met some people that I didn't know. the best kayakers of York County and some from Lancaster County. And these older guys took these kids, young guys, 17, 18 years old, under their wing, and they went out paddling at Holtwood on the river.
Wow.
Natural flow in the winter. Wow.
In the winter?
Yeah, people paddle in the winter, you get a dry suit. And believe me, it's actually safe, and those guys are comfortable. They paddle all winter long around here. And
God
it's not
bless
for
them.
everyone.
Yeah, wow.
It's not for everyone, but they do it. I sell a lot of dry suits. And I call it the farm system, like baseball. That talent was these older guys who had been paddling back in the 70s, showed my guys the ropes, the skills. And those guys, the people that were coming in here, and I get people together. This is a sport of information and contacts and who you know and who you paddle with. It's been trickled down since then, creating these paddlers. And some have went on, you know, the gold medal guys, and there's been Olympic guys, which I didn't have anything to do with that, but they were all York County people. And then there's something called team people, when you're sort of sponsored a little bit. A lot of them have come out of southeastern Pennsylvania and York County. And then many people just don't know about these athletes that this county's produced. I mean, you could write a couple dozen of them down pretty quickly. 2 of them live right on this road now. And they're actually here because of this shop, to some degree. So how about that?
They don't want to be too far away from the guru of kayaks.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit.
A little bit.
We're all buddies, we're friends.
Before we talked about the different kinds of kayaks, you kind of suggested to me that when somebody comes in and wants to buy a kayak, you kind of give them the once over and try to figure it out. So you give them a long list of questions like, are you a runner? Are you a skier? Do you do this? Do you do that? So you can, it's like fitting somebody into the right shoe at the shoe store. You know, you can't, you just don't want to jam the foot into any old shoe. You have to, you know,
it's true.
get the kayak that'll fit the physical, I guess, the physical dexterity of who's going to be using it.
I just had a girl call me, I don't know, earlier in the week, a mom from up around Philly, went to a box store. Her whole family, 5 of them, and said, oh yeah, these boats are good for whitewater. They almost died. The whole, everything they gave them was wrong. Wrong. And now she knows. She's coming here tomorrow. I don't know if they're bringing these boats down to trade them in or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's different personalities. And if you skateboard or snowboard or rock climb or mountain bike, there might be another one in there, you're a person who learns to do things, and that person is a whitewater kayaker. You gotta watch out, like buying a kayak and think you're gonna paddle that lake 2, 3, 5 times and do it 20. You're probably not. You'll become bored with it and go find something else to do. So, and flat water's fine, you know. Gotta have the right boat, I think, to enjoy it. So, and then there's people who are spectators. Like I might have said that my family, many of my family are those people. And they watch other people learn to do things. We could all learn to do it. Yeah. You know, it's a journey, that's all. Yeah. And it's not like when you buy a kayak or a whitewater kayak, it's not a ticket to Disney World where you walk through the gate and you're entertained. Yeah, it's different. You're beginning a journey. It might take you 3 months to get there, it might take you 2 years. But if you don't give up, you'll get there. You're always just one trip away from figuring it all out. And I wrote about that in my book. I've seen it. I've seen paddlers didn't want to paddle with these guys. They said, these guys are going to die. They're so reckless. They can't do it. And then one day, everyone walks in and goes, wow, I can't believe how good that guy was today. And then that person comes in, that new person goes, I don't know what happened. I could do everything. And it's a switch. You just keep going. You don't stop.
We don't want to scare anybody away, but I mean, like, if somebody just comes in and says, look, I'm fascinated with kayaks. I don't have any experience, but this is what I'd like to do someday. You could point them in the right direction so that they could start out with a simple craft and then work their way up to whitewater. Yeah, well, whitewater really isn't that difficult. It's where you go. It's just your discretion. But there's certain kayaks, whitewater kayaks, and I wrote about this before. There was a kayak that Piranha Kayaks made years ago. And the boat designer, the man that owned that company, told me, he said, this is going to be the most popular kayak, I think, that I've ever designed.
And when he told me what it was, I said, I don't think so. I'm already paddling a German kayak like that. And I said, people make fun of me. They wouldn't even get in it. But when that kayak got here, that one boat, I consider the reason kayaking is so big in the mid-Atlantic. I probably sold 1,000 of them. And it wasn't frightening. And it was easy to get out of. It made you laugh. It was less than 8 feet long. And if you were to read the marketing for that boat and what it was designed for, you would never buy it. You would not consider it. It was for the most extreme paddling on the planet. But I would tell folks, I'd say, you know why? It's easy for you. That's why they use it. It's very predictable and easy, and that's why they use to do this extreme stuff, and that's the boat you want. It makes it easier. And it made, I'm telling you, hundreds and hundreds of paddlers around here. It did. A lot of these people that I speak of, that was maybe their first boat, was that very boat.
Folks, you know, he's the expert on kayaking, but as he alluded to it earlier on, he's an author. And Brad has a series of books out that I think you can pick up on Amazon these days. And why don't we talk about, maybe you could grab one or two of your books over there.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
And we can talk a little bit about, and your pseudonym, your writing name is Wolfgang Kegel. And we can talk about that later on. But what's the series that you've got going there that right now that seems to be very popular?
I wrote this, I think, in 2012.
2012.
I got to think what year it is.
Yeah.
And this was a screenplay. So when you look at it, it looks like a screenplay. And you know, Hollywood's always looking for something new, and this is the future. Right down here at the landing on the river, 100 years from now.
No.
Yeah, and it's a future that no one's ever went to, so anyhow. But the photograph of me on the cover is a mistake. That wasn't supposed to be there. It was only supposed to be here in the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so anyway, I was fooling around with it, and they were telling me that it was the wrong size. And I clicked on something that went on the cover, did away with my cover, and I couldn't get it off. So here it is. So this is kind of interesting. Then I did this. The most popular book that I've had. Over 4,000 have been sold. If you think you're interested in kayaking, buy this book for $8. I tell everyone, it's worth 1,000 to you, and it might save your life. And if you're new, I tell everyone, I say, buy it and read it twice, and then hand it off to someone before they go to a darn box store and sort of shoot themselves in the foot.
Oh, Wolfgang Kegel wrote this book too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, so anyway, that was one. What else I got? Yeah. I tell stories. This is about me. And it's really like intriguing when you go over to a sales report on Amazon and someone's bought one of these. So I don't know why, but they must know me. But I don't know. Since 1949, a bunch of stories. Then there was another book.
Yeah.
But then, oh, wait, tell you one more. We spoke about this earlier, Zombie Island, 2029, which is coming up quick.
2029.
Yep,
Okay.
I don't know, it's a good one. But then this,
Yeah,
if you're
Slate
local
Man.
to Harford County,
Harford County,
Delta,
York
Pennsylvania,
County, Delta, Pennsylvania.
you got to get a copy of this book.
All about the area, huh?
Yeah, a little bit spooky.
Spooky too? Well, there.
And Halloween's coming, and this is a good one. And then the one, it could be a movie, and I hear that a lot. And if you're from Baltimore, Red Gun Rangers, 2049. And it is what it is.
Well, let's see here. We've got the consummate kayak expert who now is a published author, and all these books are available on Amazon, right?
On Amazon, yeah, of course, they're always here.
They can look them up on Amazon and all that, and so I think that we've pretty much covered that whole thing. I mean, I've learned a lot about kayaks. I had no idea about. Brad Nelson, Thank you for inviting me here. It was good to be here in Kayak Land. And,
Yep, and good to see you again.
And
always.
It was always great.
Yep.
I'll be back to sum this whole thing up in a minute or two. I love going to school. I mean, this guy is an expert, and he's an expert teacher. He knows the topic, he knows it well. He wants to keep people safe while they're having a lot of fun on the water. Brad Nelson was a joy to talk to here at his place just outside of Delta, Pennsylvania. So again, this was a 2-for-1 show today. We learned all about kayaking, and of course, Brad is a published author. And if you love kayaking, that's great. He has a book on kayaking. And if you just like to read some really, really good fiction, especially fiction that has to deal with this general area of York County and Delta, then you can look him up on Amazon. His pseudonym, of course, is Wolfgang Kegel. And I didn't ask him where he got that name from. Well, we'll have to do that on the next show. Anyway, I really appreciate all the time you spent watching these shows. It means a great deal to me, more than you know. I'm Ken Kidrowski, and you've been on location.